simple. If you think you need to stop me for a question, stop me, please, because this is a topic which takes time. Anish ji, Premal ji, and the chamber has taken, I was telling them, they have taken an entrepreneurial risk of even organizing this session, right? It's not easy session. It takes time. And I really thank everybody for that. Now, stop me if you have question. Otherwise, I'm happy to take question towards the end. Let's get started. And as we start, I'm sure all of you have a mobile phone. Can you quickly open Google and type Sachin Tendulkar plus actor plus tax? Sachin Tendulkar plus actor plus tax. I'm repeating, Sachin Tendulkar plus actor plus tax. And please read the news that you get on top. I'm doing as well along with you. All right, I assume everybody have got it, and you must be really surprised to hear the commentary is actor Sachin Tendulkar, right? Not sports person Sachin Tendulkar. Now I introduce with this Sachin Tendulkar, the god of cricket, our Indian mythology, which is Ramayana and Mahabharata. Actor Sachin Tendulkar. एक बार तो सोच के लगा होगा ना ये क्या पढ़ रहे हैं हम, ये क्यों पढ़ रहे हैं हम? Or if you look at the news article, it basically says he actually declared himself as an actor to claim certain tax benefits, not a sports person. And throughout this session, I will not pass a value judgment, but somewhere a question arises, उसने principally ठीक किया काम कि rules को पूरा follow किया? Correct? These are the basic two questions which should come in our mind. Principally अगर अपने देखें, he's a cricketer, yeah. उसको जो भी endorsement मिला आज तक is purely because he's a cricketer. I'm sure we all agree to that, not because he's an actor. Lekin, so that's principle. So he's earning whatever he is by the simple virtue of him being a cricketer and a sports person. पर जो वो पैसा कमाया, कोको कोला का एड किए या पेप्सी का एड किए, he literally had to go to a Yashraj studio or an RK studio, do the enactment of that 30 seconds ad or 40 seconds ad, और उसके वजह से उनको पैसा मिला. So to save taxes, because I think Indian tax law gives certain benefits if you disclose yourself as an actor, and how beautifully he has disclosed himself as an actor to claim that benefit. This is I want to introduce you to this two concept from this Sachin Tendulkar's news article, Ramayana, and the other is Mahabharata. रामायणा अ ब्यूटीफुल ट्रेल. अपने सब बोलते हैं ना, हम राम जी को बहुत पूजते हैं, पर राम जैसा कोई होना नहीं चाहता है. आई ऑल्सो डोंट वांट टू बी लाइक राम. बंदे ने कितना स्ट्रगल किया लाइफ में. बचपन गया, जवानी में शादी हुई, उसके बाद 14 इयर्स का बनवास हुआ, आके फिर स्ट्रगल किया, फिर अपनी वाइफ के लिए ही हैड टू just relinquish her wife for the benefit of the society. So and you know Mahabharata, where everything was done to gain your own benefit in a way. In Ramayana, it was the concept of duties. मुझे मेरा धर्म निभाना है, मुझे मेरा धर्म निभाना है. And he sacrificed himself at every stage because he wanted the betterment of the society at large. That is one of the executive summaries of Ramayana. He sacrificed, he went to exile to just uphold his father's promises, uphold his father's promises. But Mahabharata, they are all fighting for the land. They are all fighting for the land, which is the duties which is reflected in Mahabharata becomes rights in the duties which is reflected in Ramayana becomes rights in Mahabharata. Rights, mera ye hak hai. And this is what has given right to right to taxation and the OECD BEPS Action 15. If you're attending this session, you'll be surprised that Dinesh Agrawal is a transfer pricing professional. Why he got onto that? You know, I got into this idea of Indian mythology, and I must thank my teachers, who is Sadhguru and Devdutt Patnaik. I haven't met both of them as yet, but I have read all their books and I watched them very religiously. And whatever I'm saying today is a combination and inspiration from both of them. This is a better way of saying. The rude word of saying is मैं literally cheating कर रहा हूँ, वो जो बोल रहे हैं आपके सामने present कर रहा हूँ. So you can see how you want to see this. But look at the BEPS Action 15, the way this concept emerged. OECD guidelines right from 1995. I'll take an example of TP guidelines. All were principle based, right? आप जो भी कर रहे हो आर्म्स लेंथ में करो, आप एक कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइन करो, and we were respecting the spirit of the law in OECD guidelines 1995 में, even in 2000 edition also. We were in the age of Ramayana, if I'll call you from an OECD perspective. एक Ramayana age में थे, we were respecting the principles. But suddenly, I mean, it thought process changed and we all said, oh my God, ये क्या हो रहा है? Countries are not getting their fair share of tax, and we are manipulating. So basically, when the concept of manipulation started, and OECD very nicely says in OECD guidelines of 2017 that we need to look beyond the contractual agreements to understand the functions performed and the risk assumed and the assets deployed by the related parties. Now, which means they are completely disregarding the contractual agreements. मतलब उन लोगों ने अब लॉ को भी जो एक written rules होता है, they are also disregarding that. That is a maturity level. Uh, yeah, okay. That is one of the maturity level. Or I'll call the maturity index with which the OECD guidelines was placed. And if you really ask me, the concept of international taxation all started from principles. And where we are now, we are all in rules. We are all in rules. And if you ask me, if we live in an age of rules, the age where we started living in rules is Mahabharata and Kali Yuga. So to my mind, we OECD BEPS Action 15 and Pillar 1, Pillar 2, we are moving more towards rules. हम सब एक रूल्स के तहत डिफाइन कर रहे हैं. हम दुनिया को ये बोलना चाहते हैं कि तुम ये रूल्स के तहत काम करो. पिलर 1, पिलर 2, बेप्स एक्शन 4 कि भाई तुम इतना ही लोन ले सकते हो रिलेटेड पार्टी से और इतना तुमको टैक्स देना है. The point I'm trying to make out of this is a concept जो principle based था is now heading towards rule based, and it's a very dangerous sign. Dangerous is a more powerful word. It's kind of gives me reasons to believe that if we want to get into more and more of rule based culture, we have a tendency of breaking the rules. As Indians and everybody, हमको अच्छा लगता है rules break करना. We take pride in breaking rules. I mean, at least what I have seen, and I said no offenses because the intention I've given the disclaimer very clearly. But point I'm trying to make out of this entire discussion is principles and rules. Stick to this thought process. Let me introduce one more angle to this, and I'll give an example of transfer pricing here. Economics as a subject. Economics bola ki, countries are not getting their fair share of tax. Koi country which are developed, they're like big tigers, right? They attack, the concepts like market share, attacking, go and everywhere they attack and they make profit. This concept comes from tiger. Tiger का क्या धर्म होता है? वो अटैक करता है. वो अटैक करता है अपना जीवन को जीने के लिए. लेकिन एक लोटस, एक गुलाब, दिस कॉन्सेप्ट्स आई हैव टेकन फ्रॉम सदगुरु बाय द वे. एक लोटस, एक गुलाब, they attract the nectar. They don't go out like tigers. So the concept which which this OECD or this international taxation is saying, and this developed country, जाओ अटैक करो, मार्केट शेयर जीतो, और जो भी पैसा कमाते हो उसका टैक्स तुम अपने होम जुरिस्डिक्शन में पे करो. And this is what has given rise to this OECD model of convention as well, which is more inclined towards developed country, right? And US model we are all aware of. That is again a concept, and this all concept comes from again कि attack करके अपने को जीतना है, because you will only think of attacking when you think it's your right. I will not think of attacking something when I think it's my duty. So the duty is Ramayana, the attacking is Mahabharata. तो ये concept है which I have seen graduating over a period of time as to how this entire OECD episode developed. Now let's get a little bit on the rules. Once you get into this rules concept, I'm little bit further introducing the concept of what happened during that gambling session between Pandavas and Kauravas. It was literally you are playing with the words, literally playing with the words, because when and this is how the taxations are also evolved. If I look at the Chevron case of Australia, I'm sure you all would have heard. I kind of somehow relate that Chevron case to Draupadi Vastraharan, if you ask me. Uh, I had a chance to meet the justice of this case, Honorable Justice Robertson, when I went for a lecture in Sydney. And I asked him, Justice Robertson, how much money did you spend because you invited more than 100 witnesses to understand what should be the pricing of this transaction? You could have simply gone to National Bank of Australia, given them the situation of this entity, and asked them to arrive at a fair price, right? Or as a fair rate. आपने मूडीज को बुलाया, आपने एक पूरा मैनिफेस्टेशन क्रिएट किया. Why did you do that? And I really did ask him, and I asked him, how much money did you spend, by the way? He said almost more than, and I should not be quoted here, he said a good amount of handsome $1 million were spent in the Chevron case, and the money belonged to naturally the all the taxpayers. And what was the outcome? In favor of Chevron, right? So and the 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 connection, or the connection which I want to do out of this, how, when it comes to taxation, how do we play with this to just overcome the tax laws? Form, letter, form, substance, spirit. ये तीन वर्ड है. ये तीन वर्ड में टैक्सेशन का पूरा संस्कार अटका हुआ है. फॉर्म, सब्सटेंस, स्पिरिट. We always looked at the form in the past. Now we are looking at the intent. The PPT, the principal purpose test, is talking about intent and everything. My question is, can we really understand anybody's intent? If you have a chance, watch this wonderful Bollywood movie, Special 26. Special 26 mein there was a plan, where the police, the cop comes to know a big robbery is planned in a jewelry shop, a big robbery. And the cop goes to the jewelry shop and takes all the precautionary measure of moving all high value item to a safe house. The jewelry owner tells him, अगर आपको इतना ही पता है तो आप उस गुंडे को पकड़ क्यों नहीं लेते, उस पोटेंशियल डाकू को पकड़ क्यों नहीं लेते? The cop tells him, I cannot catch anybody because he's thinking of a crime. He has to literally do a crime, then only I can catch him. The way taxation has emerged with all the concepts of pillar 1, pillar 2, principal purpose test, the OECD TP guidelines, I think we are moving into a stage where we have started doubting the intent of related party and multinationals, which is we are also breaching the concept of rules. And therefore, the OECD and the taxation is now moving from the yuga of Mahabharata to Kali Yuga. Because look at how dharma was established. In Ramayana, it was all one person. वो अपने बारे में सोचता ही नहीं था. वो खाली दुनिया के लिए करता था. पहले अपनी धर्मपत्नी के लिए, पहले अपने पिताजी के लिए किया, उसके बाद अपने सोसाइटी के लिए किया, उसने राज धर्म निभाया. And look at the Krishna age, and I'm giving you this name. It was all about establishing the dharma. And look at the Mahabharata, where even the rules which were established, they were backstabbed. Underline the word backstabbed, and somehow they never followed the rules. The only person who actually followed all the rules in Mahabharata was Duryodhan. I'm sure it will bring smile on your face. Each and every in the form, there is a saying, no, look at the letter of the law. He actually followed the letter of the law in every instance. But what he didn't follow, the spirit of the law. And who followed that spirit of the law? Trust me, not even the Pandavas. It was Krishna who really requested the Pandavas to follow the spirit of the law, which is dharma. Now, so dharma was established, rules were broken again and again, dharma was established. Now, if you go to a stage where you really intend to break the rules, which we are trying to do now, we are saying, look beyond the letter of the law and understand the principle, purpose, and all. We are going to a age where there will be uh, more resistance, more friction. And I've given the version. We are moving towards an age where the taxation law is reaching the Kalyug phase, in amongst these four yugas. And people who are smiling, please continue to smile, because I don't know whether this is a foolish analogy I'm giving or a powerful analogy, but I have a conviction on this, because this is what precisely we are doing, in Indian context. And come back again to where we started off, Sachin Tendulkar. I'm sure, each one of you in this meeting today, when you read this Sachin Tendulkar thing, you would have thought about three words: tax planning, tax evasion, tax avoidance. I'm sure, or you would have thought about, or something would have struck कि कुछ तो inconsistent है. And the other thing which struck me when I read this news article, उसके पास इतना पैसा है. I mean, God has Lakshmi has been so kind to this gentleman. Why he has to further do this kind of a tax planning? He could have volunteered to just pay outright whatever is his tax slab, rather than going for this saving of 2 crore, 3 crore here and there, when this guy earns more than 350 crores to 400 crores in a year. That's a number I see from media. That is the money he was only used to get out of his MRF endorsement on his bat, which was there for more than 10 years. So but this is where we are heading towards. This is my interpretation, and this is where I got introduced to this Ramayana and Mahabharata. जब मैं BEPS Action 15 पढ़ा, मैं बोला, oh my God, क्या हो रहा है? And where it really hit me hard is BEPS Action 4, where they are trying to restrict the borrowing, because they are now intruding the concept of economics. Economics बोलता है entrepreneur based on his risk appetite. He can go for his own money or he can go for a debt funding. So either equity funding, debt funding, वो कर सकता है based on his risk appetite and based on how the market sees him or the value in his business. That is a concept of economics. Economies of scale is a concept coming from economics. मैं अगर मार्केट जाऊंगा 1 kg अनियन मांगूंगा. आई मीन yesterday I went to a Pondicherry market. 1 kg onion is 40 rupees. मैं बोला 10 kg लेना है, तो बोले ठीक है 35 rupees per kg. That economies of scale is also there, and I don't see anything wrong where group companies, multinational operating in different countries, they they arrange their prices in such a way that they achieve their economies of scale. Yeah, उसीलिए तो set up किए in multiple countries, of course to take local advantage, and of course to kind of achieve the broader and the larger economies of scale. By the way, I'm a transfer pricing professional, so if you're thinking that Dinesh is self contradicting himself, I am actually, because transfer pricing makes me earn my bread, but somewhere the concept in the spiritual context, it doesn't hit me hard. I see a fundamental disconnect between these two subjects. So this is just an introduction to this entire thing. I'll take a pause here. We are almost 20 minutes. I'm happy to have any question just to understand the thought process or whatever I'm saying making sense, or I should change my trajectory or my speed or tempo. I'll take a pause if anybody has any question.
I think it's going well.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, let me introduce to some of the beautiful Indian concepts. Ramayana. And this is a concept I love. How many of you heard of a word called gossip? And when you hear this word gossip, many of you will think it's a negative word. You attach negative connotation to the word gossip, isn't it? But I'll tell you what, and this is my perspective, it's actually the biggest problem solver in the world. What gossip can solve, nobody else can solve, because gossips helps you understand the undercurrent. Gossips helps you understand what's going in the mindset of people of the society. And you know where this idea of gossip became powerful is through Ramayana. And this gossip helped Ram to just stick to his railway track, just not go here and there. He happily came after killing Ravana, established the kingdom, and everybody was very happy, Ram Rajya and all those things. People started talking about Mata Sita through the medium of gossip, right? Nobody had the courage to go and tell Ram कि सीता माता इतना दिन वहां पे रही है, she has become impure and you should not leave him. But this all concept started from gossip, isn't it? And that finally reached Ram, which took him take this adverse decision. I'll call it adverse, to do whatever he did. So this is gossip is a very very powerful Indian instrument to solve problems. अपने ऑफिस में भी करते हैं ना. I mean, I do it during my appraisal time. अप्रेजल में बॉस के सामने हमेशा अच्छा बनने का, जूनियर के सामने अच्छा बनने का. But when they go out and talk to their colleague, whether they are happy with the appraisal, happy with the hike, you get a feeler. And that only happens through informal communication. Why I am introducing this concept is because I somewhere feel enough gossip did not happen even in OECD BEPS action pillar 1, pillar 2. अगर gossip ज़्यादा होता, तो we would have had a better version of this BEPS action. And this gossip, whatever representation which were made, and this is something which really perplexes me, it's the same set of advisors who advise to OECD. It's the same set of advisors who advise to the clients. It's the same set of companies who write to OECD, and the same set of companies who also reach out to their advisors for advice. So एक triangulation है यहाँ पे एक triangulation हो रहा है without a checkpoint. यहाँ पे एक triangulation play हो रहा है, and don't know the origination and the depth of this discussion. And therefore you will see most of the transaction according the concept of Mahabharata. Most of the transaction will be biased. When I say this triangulation, I now relate it to Raja Dhritarashtra, Bhishma Pitama, and Bidur. This were the karta dharta of Mahabharata. Now, Raja Dhritarashtra, he really didn't know, what I mean, whatever a perception or impression we have got, he could not see, but he was very fond of his 100 sons, Kauravas. और वो बोलता था कि पांडवा को, फिर भी he was always used to say पांडवा को दे दो. Bhishma Pitama, look at a very unique thing about Bhishma Pitama, and I want to compare this to Ramayana. Ramji sacrificed everything for the betterment of the society. And what was the end result or the outcome? Ram Rajya. I'm sure all of you will agree. Forget about his personal life. He sacrificed his personal life. He sacrificed himself as a husband, as a father. But he looked at a bigger picture. He did sacrifice. He sacrificed himself. The outcome was Ram Rajya. Bhishma Pitama also made similar sacrifice. I would rather say same sacrifice. Why? Because his father fell in love with somebody, and she wanted her kids to be the king. And they told Bhishma Pitama that if you are alive, how can my son becomes the king? So that's a conflict. And Bhishma Pitama said, ठीक है, अगर आपको यही है, then I promise you I will not marry. I promise you I will not marry. And look at the sacrifice. He also did similar sacrifice, isn't it? But look at the outcome of Mahabharata. Full destruction, right? Destruction at a personal level, destruction at the entity level, destruction everywhere. You know why? Because Ramayana followed the rules of principles, which is actually very much required in taxation. Principles dekho, intent dekho, and then do what you want to do. Mahabharata was more of rules, and rules are very easy to break. And as I said, we love breaking rules. And where I said this is where we are heading in terms of taxation, and this, the rules, we are getting into a regime where it's more and more of rules. And this also links me back to one concept. मैं हमेशा सोचता था कि as Indians, why aren't we forthcoming to pay our taxes? हम टैक्स क्यों नहीं देना चाहते हैं? हम टैक्स इतना टैक्स प्लानिंग क्यों करते हैं? And I think somewhere I got an answer. I mean, before I was even born, I understand the tax rates was 97, 98%. अब जब आप इतना टैक्स दोगे तो आपके घर में चूल्हा जलाने के लिए कहाँ पैसा होएगा? And I think that was the sanskar which was developed amongst Indians to kind of really evade taxes. Underline the word evade, because we were given a ecosystem where you extract more than what I earn. The throughput is almost 100. तो भाई मैं evade करूंगा because I have a family, I have everybody to take care of, and this is how it works. So this is, and I think we are gradually becoming better people now. I mean, it's a fantastic thing that the way taxation has evolved, and we have become so tax compliant in India nowadays. But if you really want to understand why somebody is behaving in a certain manner, the first thing we need to understand is how he's born and brought up, his childhood. And अपना Indian taxation का childhood अच्छा नहीं था. इतना tax अगर आप लगाएंगे, whatever could be the reason, as I said, I'm not here to pass a value judgment. You are outright giving an opportunity to people to evade because he needs to meet his ends and he needs money for that. So, this is my first part of the discussion where I wanted to introduce you to concept of principles and rules and the way Mahabharata and Kali Yuga is evolving. The lead indicator tells me, and I'm taking cues from Kali Yuga, the international taxation, which is getting more rule based, is going to attract more friction, purely taking cues from Mahabharata and Kali Yuga, because of the simple reason you're moving away from principles to rules. Right? So let's see how it goes, but that's what I think is moving on. That is my part one of the discussion. I'll take a pause if anybody has any questions.
Dinesh, one question from me.
Sure.
When we say that the Mahabharata or whatever happened because Bhishma Pitama, sacrificed everything, but for himself rather than for the good of the society. Would you believe that what happened was because the elders, when the game of dice happened, all the elders, which is Dhritarashtra, Bhishma, Vidur, everybody, right, kept quiet and went into long explanations of what dharma was and what dharma required when the disrobing happened. So I would personally think that the simplest thing would have been at that point in time, rather to get into interpretation of statutes, if I may call it, right, do what was required in terms of getting the end objective done. Assessment कर देते खत्म हो जाता, right? वहां टेक्निकल इंटरप्रिटेशन में गए, इसकी वजह से ये सब ज्यादा हुआ, is what my feeling is.
Absolutely. So I'll break your point into two things, Anish. First is interpretation of statue, which is a wonderful thing you said. And Draupadi wonderfully interpreted this statue. वो आके जब उसको घसीट के लाया गया, वो first question ये पूछे, and this is how we play with the law as well.
That's right.
कि in what capacity Yudhishthir could put him
Gave
on
me away.
gamble. हाँ,
Yes, gave me
क्यों?
away.
क्योंकि लॉजिक अगर ये है, अगर वो उसकी धर्मपत्नी है, तो at the time when he also lost his wife technically, right? अगर तो उसके बाद तो कुछ बनता ही नहीं था ना. If he lost his wife as well. So that was the first question. The second interpretation of statue which comes from is from the perspective of Duryodhana. See, we consider Duryodhana as an evil, but there were certain things which were very nicely brought by him as well. वो द्रौपदी को खींच के लाया and called her Dasi. Now, if you want to go by statue of interpretation, after Draupadi was lost in the gambling, she was no more a queen. तो वो दासी हो गई automatically, तो उसको खराब लगना ही नहीं चाहिए था. And this wonderfully brings me to how we also fight in the court of law, right? And how we also fight the statue, how we keep it technically without understanding the spirit. And Anish ji said, वो जो डिस्कशन हुआ वहां पे सॉर्ट आउट नहीं करने के वजह दे ऑल स्टार्टेड गिविंग देयर इंटेलेक्चुअल आर्गुमेंट्स, राइट? इंटेलिजेंस दिखा रहे हैं कि कौन कितना बड़ा है. एंड दिस इज वेयर आई वुड लाइक टू इंट्रोड्यूस, everybody has same intelligence. Somebody has more of IQ, somebody has more of EQ. जिसका बहुत IQ होता है ना, वो बहुत इंटेलिजेंट होता है, खूब पैसे कमाता है, खूब शादियां करता है, वैसा होता है. और जो बहुत EQ वाला होता है ना, वो साधु बन जाता है. So if I'm a person, my EQ plus IQ is equal to 100. It's just that my IQ could be 45 and my EQ could be 55, or my IQ could be 30 and my EQ could be 70. And this is a research, this is an area of research which I'm doing. How a person becomes emotionally balanced and intelligent, and how intellectually he can become balanced and intelligent. People who are intellectually very smart, have a tendency of being less emotionally balanced, and vice versa, which will come. So your point is, and this is where it throws the ball. This is how we play with our tax laws, Anish, isn't it? We go so much by the rules, kya likha hai, and everything, rather than trying to address the spirit. Your second question, my very little reading of Mahabharata, the turning point was still when he relinquished becoming when Bhishma Pitama decided not to have his own kids, not to get married. क्योंकि उसके वजह से there were 3 children born out of all rituals and all, and you see the outcome of that. So turning point था पे उसका sacrifice. But where I fail to understand, राम भी sacrifice कर रहा है to create a रामराज. तो महाभारत में इतना complex क्यों हो जा रहा है, right? And this complexity so far I have not been able to understand. But it introduces me to two important characters, Vishnu and Shiva, which I want to discuss in next 15-20 minutes. I don't want to talk about the leadership skills, but let's understand Vishnu as an entity and Shiva as an entity, not Shankar, Shiva. Vishnu, you know, loves an extravagant life. The way we are seeing him, loves to enjoy, all वो अपने करते हैं दाम्पत्य जीवन में. He loves to enjoy everything, bangla, गाड़ी, makan, loves to enjoy everything. And look at Shiva on the other side. वो सिर्फ अपना ड्यूटी करता है, and very peacefully, very silently. And this is what an example, when as a character, as as personifications, Vishnu, before doing anything or at the time of doing anything, he always created an aura कि ये कर रहा हूं, मैं ये करने जा रहा हूं और ये कर रहा हूं. And something I pick up from Mahatma Gandhi autobiography as well. What I have learned is, अपने महात्मा गांधी जब भी हंगर स्ट्राइक करते थे, 40 दिन पहले लोकल प्रेस में सब जगह बोलते थे इंडिया में कि हंगर स्ट्राइक करने जा रहे हैं. ऑब्वियस ना, हंगर स्ट्राइक करने जा रहे हैं, किसी को पता ही नहीं, तो भूखा रह के क्या फायदा. I mean, makes lot of sense. You can look at from this two angle. You can look at one angle कि क्यों एक हंगर स्ट्राइक कर रहा है और क्यों दुनिया को बता रहा है. The other angle is हंगर स्ट्राइक कर, लेकिन सबको बता कि हंगर स्ट्राइक कर रहा हूँ, क्योंकि फिर लोग समझेंगे, they will get They will get involved in the movement. And that was the idea. I mean, 40, 50 days, he would get in touch with all vernacular newspapers and get his hunger strike, advertised in all the newspapers. Now, don't pass a value judgment. This is just a concept. Shiva, जब समुद्र मंथन होता है, and this wish comes out very silently without creating any noise. Shiva comes, he drinks the entire and poison and goes away and again sits in Kailash, and he doesn't even tell anybody. This actually introduces me to two leadership styles. Nothing wrong. One leadership style, which is Vishnu, he loves to be connected, involved, and do politics as well. Politics is actually a very, very powerful and a positive word. Gossip is a positive word, as I say, and politics is also a positive word. The way I know my born and brought up is politics मतलब सब कुछ गंदा है. नहीं. पॉलिटिक्स का मतलब है आप सबको साथ लेके चल रहे हो. पॉलिटिक्स का इंटरप्रिटेशन है आप सबको साथ लेके चल रहे हो, सबका आप समझ रहे हो. You're empowering everybody. That's politics, which is a trait of Vishnu. Shiva, he doesn't care. वो अपना काम करेगा. The kind of person is, अगर उसका जो स्टाफ है, शिवा का जो स्टाफ है, अगर उनके पास काम नहीं है तो बोलेगा तुम एंजॉय करो लाइफ. लेकिन विष्णु बोलेगा बहुत काम है, बहुत काम है, सबसे रात दिन टैक्स रिटर्न के बाद भी काम कराता रहेगा. So, just taking little jokingly, so point I'm trying to make is these are the two, completely opposite so-called leadership skills or qualities which I have seen. And I've seen both kind of leaders in my professional life. I've seen Vishnu as well. They create an aura कि भाई कुछ भी कर रहे हैं, create a larger than life this thing, in everybody. And there are very silent leaders, do their job and get out because they are more involved. But both of them are giving positive outcomes to the society, mind you. Nobody is giving a negative outcome. Vishnu is doing all this, but the outcome is establishment of dharma. Shiva is doing all this, but the establishment of dharma. But only their processes are different. And this is the reason I thought of doing a Lean Six Sigma certification to understand the process. ये process क्या चीज होता है? शिवा का process different क्यों है और विष्णु का process different क्यों है? So that is what comes. And somewhere, if you ask me, and I should not be quoted here, Anish, but somewhere मुझे लगता है हमारे जो OECD के पास्कल जी हैं वो somewhere दुर्योधन हैं.
Maybe.
And I'll tell you why do I say that. He's a wonder. He's just following the rules, but he's bending the rules every time. 5 साल पहले हमारे श्री पास्कल जी ने कहा था, any country wants to establish zero tax, I have no issues. It's a sovereign right to attract investments. Now suddenly he has changed his basic principle. So see, he's following bending the rules just to keep everybody intact. लेकिन उनको ये नहीं पता कि जितने भी उनके अंडर में जो फॉलोअर्स हैं उनमें एंग्विश आ सकता है और वो तोड़ फाड़ के निकल जाएंगे. समथिंग विच भीष्म पितामह डिड, राइट? उन्होंने शादी नहीं किया, बट ही कंटिन्यूड टू बी अ मेंटर with nobody asking him to be the mentor. I mean, he should have lived his life, given way to younger generation. But वो एक शेषनाग जैसे बैठे रहे महाभारत में till the end कि I am responsible for Hastinapur. No, leadership has to keep changing. If you think you are the only person, if I think I'm the only person and I will survive till the end or generation, I'm actually killing an organization. And this is exactly what happened in Mahabharata. Great question, Anish. I hope I answered. It's not an answer, but just a discussion.
It's fine. It's just an exchange of thoughts in terms
Yes.
of what we think. So I think it's a good intellectually stimulating debate. And I would think that again, maybe it's not an easy one for Bhishma also, if I see it in that sense, right? Because you had Dhritarashtra at one end who was blind, you had Pandu who at the other end, had his own physical challenges, and therefore in the mind of somebody who is a mentor to say that I am not really leaving behind my legacy to the right people, and I will wait till that right person actually comes up. That again sometimes can lead you to a very protective environment, as Bhishma did, in terms of the fact that all right, I would rather wait for the right person to come along. Now I would believe that if you are in an organization, my personal view, that as a leader you will have to give way when you believe that you are not adding value, not because there is nobody else. I would believe that at some point in time you believe you've become old, you become outdated. Today, take a very classic case of technology invading all of us. If we have a leader at the helm of affairs who doesn't understand how technology is to be applied, then I think whether his successor understands it or not, he has to give way, is my view.
So that takes a point. So you raised 2 points, and let's address this. One is when I think a suitable person comes. ah, First, I need to ask myself: have I that level of maturity to judge whether a suitable person has come? Sachin Tendulkar, fantastic batsman, but a failed captain, right? A failed captain. Rahul Dravid, to my mind, Rahul Dravid was actually Lord Shiva. He did everything for Indian cricket. He was a wicketkeeper in 2003 World Cup and playing as one down. He just was discharging his duties. So I get your point, but look at the organizations. Many CEOs fail, many CEOs they rise. But when I think that who is the right person, I'm actually giving a lot of value and importance to myself that I have the capability to judge, which can go right many times, but can also outplay you. वहां पे उनको थोड़ा एक्सपेरिमेंट करना चाहिए था. See, एक get a sense, experiment, get a sense, and then you can move on. Just by waiting for that right person, to my mind, he took too much of a time, which led to premium decay, and so is the case. Uh, that's a fantastic thing. Any other question from anybody? And all ladies and gentlemen, we are just exchanging ideas. I'm no expert on this subject. I'm just a learner. We are all exchanging ideas, thought process here to make life, look at life from a different perspective. So feel free to exchange your thought process. It will be a more meaningful discussion. I'll give 1 more minute if anybody has a question. Otherwise, I'll get to my other leg of discussion. All right. I don't think there is a question. So now let me try to address some of the solutions which I think is relevant from Indian context. What have we done in last 1 hour? We have spoken about principles and rules. We have spoken about leadership, and we have tried to give some positivity to two very impactful words, gossip and politics. And we have also tried to little bit portray what is Lord Vishnu versus Lord Shiva. Now let's bring everything to Indian context now. इंडिया में क्या होना चाहिए? तो दुनिया तो गया, दुनिया तो ठीक है. अब everybody is looking at India. I mean, today also the stock market's at all-time high. Excepting Mota Bhai, everybody is performing in the markets, right? But let's bring everything to the Indian context. India का context क्या है? अपने कैसे taxation बढ़ा सकते हैं? एक simple example मैं देता हूँ, and this is something I had written, last month as an article in the Singapore CA chapter journal. 3 बेबीज को लेके आइए, एक यूएस बॉर्न, एक चाइनीज बॉर्न, एक इंडियन बॉर्न बेबी, 2 साल का. चाइनीज बेबी रो रहा है, यूएस वाला बेबी भी रो रहा है, इंडियन बेबी भी रो रहा है. चाइना का जो बेबी है ना, वो जब रोएगा उसके माता पिता बोलेंगे चुप, तो वो एकदम चुप हो जाएगा. नहीं तो उसको बोलेंगे तू इतना डेसिबल में रो, इतना आवाज में रो, वो कंटिन्यूअसली उतनी आवाज में रोता रहेगा. एंड आई हैव सीन दिस माई सेल्फ. I mean, I live in Hong Kong, so I've seen myself when I go to a park when children they cry. I mean, their parents say, "Shut up!" They will immediately stop crying, like it's a remote control. This is a sanskar which comes from China. How now? Let me shift to the US child. US का US का बच्चा क्या करेगा? वो इतना ही आवाज में रोएगा कि his parents will be happy and his parents will not scold at him. He will adjust or customize his, his crying, his decibel at which he is crying, to adjust to his, to or fit to do a fitment to his parents. इंडिया का केस में क्या होगा बताइए? इंडिया का केस में मैं हनुमान चालीसा पढ़ने लग जाऊंगा कि बेटा चुप हो जा, बेटी चुप हो जा, एंड दे विल बी shouting at the top of the voice, isn't it? Anybody disagrees, feel free, and please bring smiles on your face. It's just a light discussions which we are having. Now, this actually introduces me to very powerful concepts which I've picked from, Sadhguru and Devdutt Patnaik. It all talks about what is the sanskar of China, sanskar of US, and how different we are. And we need to align our taxation to those sanskar as well. China is all about standardization, right? वो बच्चा चुप मतलब चुप, वो रोएगा नहीं, और जितनी देर तक आप नहीं बोलेंगे वो नहीं रोएगा. Trust me. I mean, I can tell you with all maturity, since I am living in Hong Kong for almost 5 years now, वो नहीं रोएगा. So that's standardization, right? And you see how China has outgrown everybody in standardization. Louis Vuitton का पर्स अगर आपको ला के देना है, अपनी वाइफ को गिफ्ट करना है एनिवर्सरी में, I mean, Louis Vuitton 35,000 rupees का पर्स आपको 100 rupees में मिलेगा, thanks to the standardization of China. And it's a lovely cut copy paste. Let's appreciate them. आपको original versus duplicate का पता नहीं चलेगा. And that's a wonderful trait, I would say. मैं थोड़ा politically correct होने का कोशिश कर रहा हूँ. Second, US is all about market. जो market को चाहिए वो आप दो, तो वो बेटा उतना ही रोएगा जिसमें उसके माता पिता नाराज नहीं हो, और happily they will continue to work. And this is why we call US market is all about consumers, consumerism and all these things, because this is how the markets have evolved. India में वो चीज नहीं है according to me. India is all about localization. इंडिया में एक बच्चा जम्मू एंड कश्मीर का डिफरेंट है, उड़ीसा का डिफरेंट है, कर्नाटका का डिफरेंट है, सेम बच्चा, एज आई सेड, इंडियन कॉन्टेक्स्ट, उसको आप चुप नहीं करा पाएंगे. मैं बोला मैं हनुमान चालीसा पढ़ने लग जाऊंगा कि मेरी बेटी चुप हो जा, लेकिन वो चुप नहीं होगी. दैट ब्रिंग्स मी टू दिस वेरी पावरफुल इंडियन संस्कार of non-standardization, and that is our strength, if you ask me really. And you know look at, and this is one of the examples which I gave. Look at, go and have a try a meal in Gujarat and try a meal in Andhra Pradesh. Gujarat ka meal will have some sweet content, of course. And Andhra ka meal will be extremely chilly, not spicy, extremely chilly. Why? Because, and you have seen how the food habits and everything is different. आपको 50 kilometers में इंडिया में different food culture मिलेगा, food habit मिलेगा. आपको every 50 kilometers में different dialect मिलेंगे इंडिया में, different way of saying the same language. I am born and brought up in Orissa. The Oriya which we speak in the place where I am born is different from the Oriya which is spoken in Bhubaneswar or which is spoken in Cuttack. That gives me reasons to believe ki how different we are, and we cannot standardize India. I repeat myself. अपने standardization नहीं कर सकते और नहीं करना चाहिए, because we are all different, and now use this powerful concept to see how we can superimpose taxation into that. And before that, let's understand India broadly. After independence, we had most of the capital good industries in Eastern India: Bokaro steel plant, Rourkela steel plant, Durgapur steel plant. And we say, no, capital industries is like the foundation for any economy. If you are becoming capital intensive, you actually become an exporter. You actually become an exporter of the capital, isn't it? Look at Western India, Southern India, Northern India. And look at which regions are developed. I'm sure you will agree. Western India is the most developed industry wise. Southern India is catching up, and it's Northern India. Eastern India is not the case. Feel free to disagree with me. Eastern India is, and why do I say that? West Bengal, Orissa, Northeast, their emotional quotients are more developed, if you ask me. They love doing drawing, painting, writing. they want to do everything in relation to arts and crafts, and they love doing that. The finest Bollywood singers all come from West Bengal, isn't it? The finest actors, the finest musicians, they all come from West Bengal and Orissa, because their emotional quotient is developed and they like the creative side of life. Come to Western India, and I'm a Rajasthani born and brought up setup. We are more industrious. अपना अपना बुद्धि ज्यादा चलता है. अपने को अगर आप 100 रुपया दोगे ना, अपने वो 100 रुपये का घर नहीं खरीदेंगे. अपने वो 100 रुपया धंधे में लगाएंगे, उससे 10 टका अपने कमाई करेंगे, वो 10 टका फिर धंधे में लगाएंगे, उससे 1 टका कमाई करेंगे, वो 1 टका का अपने घर खरीदेंगे. Isn't it? Look at the way we reinvest our capital, and we want to create wealth. That's a beautiful side of intellectual capital, or which I call the IQ, the intellectual quotient. So the example which I gave, 100 रुपया देने से आप वो धंधे में लगा के 10 रुपया कमाएंगे, फिर उसको 10 रुपए को धंधे में लगा के 1 रुपया कमाएंगे, उससे घर खरीदेंगे. West Bengal, Odisha, they will not do this. Their final objective in life is एक घर होना चाहिए. And this is how they see their life of accomplishment. Now, I always wanted to understand, ये different in aspirations क्यों है? ये different in aspirations है because of the born and brought up setup. And this is where I want to link to the concept of non-standardizing India. कि आपको standardize के बारे में सोचना ही नहीं चाहिए, आपको localization के बारे में सोचना चाहिए. If you think about localization, your ability to increase revenue, your ability to even get more taxes increases, because you are empowering them. You are empowering their ego as well and self respect. you know मैं हमेशा मैं भले ही मैं if I don't like a politician, for example, but if I have an opportunity to get a selfie with any politician, I'll put it in a Facebook. I mean, don't you think I'm self contradicting myself? And this is predominantly the mentality of most of us. So idea which comes out of this is localization. And I'm going to tell you in next 5 minutes, I'm going to propose something which can really become very laughable in front of you all. But I'm happy to take that risk because I have a conviction. To my mind, setting tax slabs in India is what we are doing. We are standardizing India. नहीं करना चाहिए. And नहीं करना चाहिए. We should non-standardize India. आप ये करो कि एक आदमी में एबिलिटी है कि वो लोगों को जॉब दे सके, उसका टैक्स माफ कर दो आप. उसका टैक्स माफ कर दो आप, क्योंकि वो लोगों को जॉब क्रिएट करके दे रहा है. और एक आदमी अगर लगता है कि ही इज नॉट एंटरप्राइजिंग, ही लव्स टू अर्न हिज मनी, गो आउट इन द इवनिंग टू हैव डिनर and lead a nice life, take taxes from him. You might think, Dinesh, you're being harsh. No, I'm not harsh, because on one side you're solving a bigger problem. You're giving an opportunity for a person to create employment, and you're saying the reward for you creating employment is no taxes for you. And the other person who is only thinking of himself, who is not thinking of creating an employment out of his own choice or something, why then you tell him you contribute something to the government exchequer, because the other guy, he's indirectly contributing to the exchequer. So if you ask me, we really need to segregate India or create slabs. कि भाई मोटा भाई, आप 5 लाख जॉब दे रहे हो, आप कमिट करो 5 लाख लोगों को जॉब दोगे, इतना सैलरी वेजेस दोगे 5 लाख लोगों को, आपका टैक्स माफ. That will empower him because that's his sanskar, and he loves to do that, right? And the other guy, you tell him pay 10% taxes because you're not creating employment. But in the larger scheme of things, what are we doing? We are actually localizing taxation. This concept might sound very, very weird, because this could just be an introduction, and any idea or concept which takes birth, people mostly laugh at it, including myself. But the way India is set up, I think we should give it a try. कि understand the local nuances, understand the local flavor क्या है, local तौर तरीके क्या है, local समझ क्या है, और उस हिसाब से आप टैक्स डिटरमिन करिए वो पर्टिकुलर लोकेलिटी के लिए, वो jurisdiction के लिए. Or to my view, you will try to solve bigger scheme of things because you are then addressing the intrinsic India, which is localization. और अपने जहां भी अगर आप देखिए, इफ यू ट्राई टू स्टैंडर्डाइज, आप खुद एग्जांपल देखिए, आप एक स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन करिए, लॉ क्रिएट करिए. एज आई सेड, वी लव टू ब्रेक द लॉ एंड वी टेक प्राइड इन दैट, नॉट बिकॉज वी वांट टू डू दैट, बट बिकॉज अपना जो संस्कार है वो इतना स्ट्रांग है. वी वी दैट हेल्प्स अस, यू नो, अपने उसको छोड़ना नहीं चाहते, और भले ही लॉ को अपने ब्रेक करें, बट आर संस्कार शुड नॉट टेक अ बीटिंग. That is what creates to all this. So isn't it a wonderful idea कि आप उसका ईगो संस्कार को रेस्पेक्ट करें, so that you intrinsically encourage him not to break law, or he will himself be encouraged not to break law, because you are respecting his sanskar, his born and brought up, and you know the area to which he is catering. So my thinking, the way we should be addressing, and this concept may come after 100 years, 500 years, I might not be alive, or this concept may even die. Rather than standardizing the income tax slabs, we should think about localizing the income tax slabs depending on your sanskar, to what is your born and brought up. And our born and brought up is extremely important, ladies and gentlemen. Our entire life becomes a defining the way we are born and brought up. The way I am born and brought up, that sanskar I continue for life, and I'm sure all of you will agree. And that is so much within us, we don't want to leave it. We don't want to leave it, isn't it? So this is how it comes. So the answer lies in a very simple thing of look at, go local, which is also our prime minister's this thing, vocal on local. But the local also has to be looked from a taxation perspective. And as I said, as I come back to the concept where I said, uh, the way the BEPS action is heading, we are all talking about right of taxation rather than duties of taxation. And Mahabharata is a best example that when you start talking about rights, you're talking about me, I, me, myself, and that creates the fundamental friction and disconnect in the society. And when you move to a taxation regime where you kind of localize, you are moving from the idea of right of taxation by the government to enforcing duties of taxation amongst the citizens. वो बोलेंगे यार हाँ ठीक है, हम यहाँ के लोग हैं, हम यहाँ पे काम करते हैं, हमको गवर्नमेंट ने एम्पावर किया है, हम भी टैक्स देना चाहेंगे. एंड ट्रस्ट मी, एवरी ह्यूमन बीइंग इज इन intrinsically is a wonderful person. Every human being intrinsically is a wonderful person. I'll tell you, when you meet anybody, you give him 100 on 100. I always give 100 on 100 whenever I meet anybody, and the way by the way he conducts himself, I start deducting marks or adding marks. I don't go by what others say about any person. And you know, this is how as a country also we can involve. So the concept which I want to introduce as a proposed solution is go for localization of corporate taxation. Not corporate taxation, go for localization of personal income taxation, and you will see the wonders. Because as I said, you will basically be manifesting the thought process of people from rights of taxation to duties of taxation. I'll take a pause here because I think I have given a very heavy topic. I have introduced a concept which might be totally off guard, but I wanted to propose this idea in this forum today. I'll take a pause if anybody has any questions.
So I think again, maybe one observation rather than a question from me is that there are rights and there are duties for every citizen with regard to everything that they do. Taxation also certainly carries a duty of complying with the law, right? To the extent that the law needs to be complied with. and there are certain rights that a taxpayer has in this country. Unfortunately, what I think has happened is that the rights of the taxpayer are so intangible today that a taxpayer does not feel wanted. So if you get your proud flyer or proud filer certificate and you put it up on Facebook, I don't think that is something that the taxpayer wants. The taxpayer wants more tangible action in terms of the, how do I put it, he not being subject to misery when he goes to claim his refund, he not being made to wait 2 hours before a tax officer just to get his rectification done, and that too with a promise to say that all right, हाँ हम देखेंगे and we'll look at it, and then everybody conveniently forgets. He needs proper infrastructure for him to be able to file his return, not a website which crashes every time. So those are the rights that a taxpayer fairly demands. Now, unfortunately or fortunately, what has happened is that the government is still some distance away from providing him that sort of rights. And which is why, as you rightly mentioned, that the taxpayer somewhere seems, a little disillusioned by the fact that मैं क्यों tax भरूं, right? What is it that is coming to me? So when, of course, I discharge a duty and I know that I have to discharge a duty, the repercussion or the reaction of discharging that duty should also be manifest and visible in the taxpayer, which is unfortunately not happening, and which is where I think we're lacking as a country.
That actually takes me to the point which Nishtha ji said when we started off, karam kar phal ki ichha mat kar. Yeah. you know Anish ji, you're raising a point which is valid. Karam kar phal, but I'll tell you, and this is what the solution will come. If I think, and which is why I'm promoting the idea of localization. आप अगर locally एक इंसान को strong बनाएंगे, which is enrooted to his culture and all, he will dilute his stance on, on reward, क्योंकि आप उसको एम्पावर कर रहे हैं, और वहां पे कर्म कर फल की इच्छा नहीं रखेगा इंसान, क्योंकि वो अपने जगह से कनेक्टेड है, रूट से कनेक्टेड है, तो बोलेगा हाँ यार, वो सरकार ले लिया ना, पैसा लेने दे, लेकिन हमने अच्छा कुछ काम किया. सो आइदर व्हाट सोल्यूशन यू आर ऑफरिंग, दैट शुड बी डन. वो मुझे लगता नहीं होएगा, एटलीस्ट इन माय लाइफ टाइम नहीं होएगा, बाकी का पता नहीं. लेकिन वो सेकंड इज अ पोटेंशियल सोल्यूशन कि लोकली एम्पावर करिए, तो उस चीज को वो सोचेगा ही नहीं.
Maybe, I mean, because I would think that since we have tried to get this, reward that I spoke about to the taxpayer unsuccessfully for the past, whatever, now 50 odd years, right? 61 to 21. So 60 odd years in that sense, right? And unfortunately, the act has to get amended. Every year you have 100 plus clauses in the finance bill, plus amendment bills, plus circulars, plus notifications. So clearly the objective is not being met. It may be, not completely, how do I put it, not completely out of place to look at an out of the box solution for the taxpayer, right? The only thing again is that there will have to be certain inherent, how do I put it, certain inherent measures or checks and balances to ensure that everybody does get what you just illustrated in your this thing, to say that empower him, empower him to recruit more, right? Give him incentive to do all of that. Government has tried in its own little way. Unfortunately, I think the problem that I see is that, again, if I come to kings versus governments, kings in the good old days had a attitude of, how do I put it, largesse, an attitude of, say, when I have to give, let me give away with both hands, right? Whereas government, particularly in India, and I think it is because of us being a colony for more than a day, a century and a half, is where you say that, all right, can I really afford to give away everything? Am I relinquishing everything that I have, am I relinquishing power? And I think that is the biggest problem, that people don't realize that by giving away power, you get more power.
Agreed to this view. Agreed.
So, I think it is time for some out of the box solutions. And I'm very happy that we are debating out of the box solutions, because it is time for out of the box solutions to emerge, and the taxpayers to be given their due, which they've been asking for so long. So I think I'm with you on that completely, which is why I said I had an observation and not a question.
Nani, thank you. And I, just to reinforce myself thought, I mean, and with due respect, look at certain population of Eastern India. They love to have only a house. That's their final dream. So उनको housing incentive दे दो, उनको कुछ कर दो, they love it. और अपने साइड में धंधा करने वाले लोग हैं, उनको ज्यादा धंधा के लिए आप प्रमोट करिए. तो again the concept of localization, और इसमें चोरी कम होगी अनीश जी, to my mind.
No,
इसमें
I agree. It's
इसमें
a recognition of cultural
हाँ,
diversity that we
yes.
have here in this country.
Absolutely, that's bang on word. I think that two words summed it: cultural diversity. Uh, I think that's pretty much I had. Considering it's a heavy topic, I thought of breaking it into three parts. One is explaining the concept of principle versus rules. Secondly, helping you think through a different perspective. You know why I brought this concept of gossip and politics and put it in a positive connotation, so that we have different ideas on the same concept, and that will encourage us to think differently. And the third is whatever little solution I could think out of my limited understanding of our epics, I have brought it and tabled in front of this August house. That's pretty much from my side.
I think very useful session, very thought-provoking session, Dinesh. As and also as somebody, I would think that a study of the scriptures, if you ask me, I know that people believe that the Mahabharata is a book that you do not keep in the house, because the old wives' tale about it is that it creates conflict. So you keep a Ramayana because it's a book of union, but a Mahabharata is a book of division, and you don't keep it in the house. I would think that that is a little far-fetched in today's day and age. I believe the Mahabharata is actually a book of today's times, and if you read it very, very carefully, I would believe that the Mahabharata teaches you a lot about the situations today, about how to conduct yourself today. And the very important point that you actually made about principles versus rules. And rules are, the letter really, and the principles are the spirit. Principles don't change. Rules can change with times, they can change with circumstances. And therefore, I would think that a study of the Mahabharata is very, very, important. I would recommend, people to read Jaya, as Dinesh rightly said, by Devdutt Patnaik. That is a very good encapsulation of the Mahabharata. There is also a very good book by Gurcharan Das called The Difficulty of Being Good, where he takes few characters out of the Mahabharata, be it Krishna, be it Arjun, be it Yudhishthir, be it Bhishma, be it Karna, and be it Draupadi, and of course Krishna. All of those characters are actually analyzed in depth, and context is given to how somebody in the modern world would behave if those principles were to be applied. So it's a very good book. I would recommend people to read it. For me, it made very, very interesting reading. I still reread it when I feel like reading it. It's one of my favorite books. But I think that these the Mahabharata, in my view, Ramayana is of course the ideal, and you need to know what the ideal is, right? If need to know how to practically navigate through. So I would believe that first you read the Ramayana, then you read the Mahabharata, and you put the two together, and you will see that there is very little conflict between the two. It is just the change of circumstances that you are in, which makes you behave differently. The principles, as you rightly said, Dinesh, the root, the ways of behavior remain exactly the same. Circumstances make you, put your actions a little differently.
Rightly
So I
said,
think very,
circum.
very insightful session, very thought-provoking session. Thank you very much for this. May I hand over now the proceedings for the formal vote of thanks.
Ishta, would you like to have some concluding remarks?
So,
Nisha?
yes. So, yeah. Hi. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Dinesh ji, thank you very much. As I had at the beginning of the session itself, I had told you that this is a topic which is very much debatable, very much thought provoking, and this one session maybe would not do justice to your point of view and also to actually expand our point of view. So with this, yes, and as I had started my conversation with you by saying that you know that we should really not expect any fruits out of our own actions. But I would like to say that you have made looking tax again more hopeful. President sir already gave his very positive opening remark for the year, and I think this is a wonderful first webinar that our committee has. Conducted, which has made us again realize that there is really something to look forward to in 2021. So with this, sir, thank you so much. On behalf of the chamber, I extend a hearty vote of thanks to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Anish Bhai.
Dinesh.
Thank you, Pramil. Thank you, Ashita, for organizing. Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
participants. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you,
very
Dinesh.
much.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you,
Bye.
Ani.
Thank you.
Bye.